Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes.
Of course, it is Monday, the 6th day of March 2023. My name is MC Kalia, and this is the Morning Glory Show. It is the most comprehensive talk show in Kenya today. We're getting into the second week of this particular month, and with me in studio is Honorable Moses Kebenei. He's the MCA for Simat, Kapseret, or people prefer to say Kapseret, Simat ward. But then before we go there, allow me to remind you that we are coming live from Dawi Afrique Photography. Dawi Afrique Photography is a photography studio situated in Eldoret, Zion Mall, basement A. And during this time, it is expected that many people are planning their weddings and their ceremonies in connection to the April holidays, and so you can book with us to actually get you those nice memories. We usually say that we give you a good experience in front of the camera, and also we get you quality memories for your library. Also important to notice that if you'd want to learn fashion and design, D-Square School of Fashion Design and Tailoring is the best place to be. Walk into D-Square School of Tailoring and you'd be able to learn from the best. The sweetness of learning from D-Square is that D-Square has a fashion house, or D-Square started as a fashion house, and they tailor make their clothes. So that means that anytime you'll be training from D-Square, then you have the opportunity of learning from the best. Nonetheless, allow me to welcome Mwesh. Karibu sana Mwesh. Say hi to our viewers.
Asante. Good morning, everyone. My name is Moses Kipchumba Kebenei, MCA Simat Kapseret ward. But you know, people usually, it depends. You know, Simat Kapseret wards, we have 2 locations. So if most people at the ground, when you come from Simat, you say, I come from Simat Kapseret ward. But those people who are coming from Kapseret location, they usually say, I come from Kapseret Simat ward, which at the end of the day is still the same.
But then it depends on where you come from.
Yeah, when you hear someone saying, I come from Simat Kapseret, definitely you know this guy comes from Simat location. But on the other side, if you hear someone saying, I come from Kapseret Simat, definitely he comes from Kapseret location. But nevertheless, I'm the MCA for Simat Kapseret.
So it means you come from Simat.
No, I come from Kapseret. but you know, so that because I come from the other side of Kapseret, that's home. Kapseret is home. So let me just say I come from Simat Kapseret, so that yes, I can accommodate everyone. Yeah.
And Mwesh, do you actually does your jurisdiction reach the airport? Somehow.
Yes. Eldoret Airport is within Simat Kapseret.
Within Simat Kapseret.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And how is it so far? 6 months down the line. First of all, I remember seeing you during campaigns. You're quite confident. And yeah, 6 months down the line, how has been the experience?
I can say very interesting. You know, during campaign, at that time, I was not in leadership. The moment I entered into leadership, at that point you realize because now you have a bigger responsibility and everyone is looking up to you. So the last 6 months we've really tried, and for me I said I would just want, let me just thank God because he gave me let me say somehow I got know how to push for things. So for the last 6 months, I can say I don't think there's any department within the county government of Uasin Gishu I've not gone there. So far, I think I've made so many friends. That's why when an issue arises at home, I know who to call or which office to go and knock. But at the end of the day, it's a very good experience. And it is not as hard as people usually used to say. You know, just being yourself. You know, leadership, you just need to be yourself. And everything else will fall in place. Yes.
And there are some of those moments of maybe expectation versus reality conflicting, maybe people expecting too much from what you can give, because one of the biggest challenges that most leaders give is that people maybe at times don't even understand the mandate of an MCA and how different it is maybe from that of the governor and even other leaders.
Let me just say I cannot blame them. Because MCA is the last leadership, let me say the line of defense for people at the ground. So in most cases, the easiest person to approach is the MCA. For example, let me talk about member of parliament, a women rep, and senator. 95% of their time, between Monday and Friday, they are not around. They're in Nairobi. But between Monday, most likely Monday to Monday, MCA is at home. So when people are being pressed by issues, the easiest person they will go knocking the door is at the MCA's place or MCA's office. Even issues which are not handled by the MCA, but they will tell the MCA. And you know, in leadership, you have to accept everybody. And sometimes things are very hard. You hear somebody who needs very serious help, but you are in a position not to help. and it becomes sad. You now feel like I'm letting down this person. But sometimes things are out of your control. You can only do what you can. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Muesh. Of course, this is the Morning Glory Show. It is the most comprehensive talk show in Kenya today. And if you're already tuned in and you have any question for Muesh, then feel free to shoot it to me. I usually love saying that you are the MCA for Simat, Kapseret. But then once you enter the county assembly, then any legislation you bring to the house affects the whole house. Not the whole house, rather, but the whole county. So per se, then you become the MCA for Uasin, Gishu, and in connection then an MCA in Kenya. Yes. So if anyone has any question to shoot about what has been happening in the county, then I'm sure that Muesh will be in a position to answer that. As we move forward, of course, you've given your 6 months experience and you've said it has been fantastic. Maybe within the short time in the county assembly, what are some of those things that, of course, I will still talk about the development at home, because so many people are saying, okay, there's somebody here working. Clearly, people can see even 6 months already. People can see, people can give a scorecard. Of course, you have two roles. There is the one core ground, and there is also legislation. Let's go to the legislation bit of it. What are some of the activities that you've engaged yourself in the house, and some of those you'd say are some of the first things that you had hoped to do, and I don't know if you have been able to also do them in the assembly.
Very true. And you know, when we enter the assembly, most of the things, people usually say mambo kwa ground is different. It's very true. Vitu kwa ground tofauti. When you're outside there, you don't know, especially for the first timers, you really don't know what is happening inside the assembly. You just hear what people are usually talking out there. But when you go, you become now an MCA after being sworn in. You'll be taken through a process, induction here and there. And when you look at it, we are 44 MCAs, 30 elected and 14 nominated. Now, when we entered assembly, first you have to know what the standing orders. You know, assembly has been, let's say, the constitution that governs the plenary, the assembly is the standing order. So you have to understand because when you rise up to say something, you have to say, as per the standing order, number these and these. So you have to go through it and take your time to read standing orders. Sometimes you ask questions here and there, so that you can be in a position to bring a motion in the house. So far, for the last few months I've been there, so far I can say I'm very proud. We have debated 2 motions that I brought in the house. One is issues to do with parking in town, the lorries that are loading and offloading the main road instead of backyard. The second one is issues to do with athletes and the training. That one is still probably in the course of this week it will be debated, but already have submitted it to the leadership. So probably on Wednesday or Thursday, on Thursday, most likely we will have a debate on it. And there are so many other things that I've participated in. I think I'm in almost all the major committees. Also, I'm the committee chair of lands and physical planning. And as we know, Eldoret is going to be a city soon. So probably when it comes to issues with physical planning, my input as the chair now will come in and play a very big role. At the moment, we don't have a CEO in our department, but we are waiting very soon because I understand the governor, maybe in the few days to come, will bring the name. But we are ready. We as an assembly, we are really ready to work with, not ready, we are working very closely with the executive. So far, we haven't had any issues with the executive. Our role, as we all know, is 3 roles: oversight, representation, and legislation. We can be friends, and we are friends with the executive. But when it comes to issues of oversight, now that is where we'll draw the line. We were elected to do our work, and the executive, they were also elected to do their work. Yes, but issues outside work, we are friends.
Unasema nyinyi ni marafiki.
Sisi ni marafiki, and we'll still be friends. Yes.
Okay, of course, with us in studio is Honorable Moses Kebenei. He is actually the MCA for Simat Kapseret. Or for those who come from Kapseret, Simat. I don't want to pick enemies here. So, of course, he's sharing with us, this is the state of the nation. Focus on Uasin Gishu County, of course, being Monday, the 6th day of March 2023. And we would now want to look at the ground. So many people have been telling you need to bring Honorable Kebenei. He's doing some good work. There's a difference between Simat, Kapseret, and other wards. And I was like, okay, do you get a bigger allocation, or what is it about?
No. It is nothing to do with the big allocation. I think it is human nature. If you wait for things to happen, they will never happen. But if you push yourself, things will happen. For the people of Simat Kapseret, they sent me to assembly for me to be the MCA to make sure the issues that are pending, I try to sort them out. For example, when you go to the departments, sometimes even the departments, they are overworked, but you have to know how to find your way to play around with it until you achieve what you want. Because at the end of the day, it's nothing to do with Kebenei. It's about the people of Simat Kapseret. So when I go there, I get issues. Sometimes I tell them, this one is not possible at the moment. This is possible at the moment. So the ones I know that probably as per their request is not possible at that time, and the other one I can see there's a loophole, so there's an opportunity here, I'll bring that one, even if they don't want it now, but in future they will probably need it. So I rather prefer, let me bring it here now, as we wait for the other one. That's why, and I really thank the people of Simat Kapseret because they totally believe in what I'm doing, and they give me 100% support.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Of course, with us in studio is Honorable Kebenei, MCA Kapseret Ward. And Mwesh, let's talk about now some of the things that have put us on the limelight. Of course, the first one being the latest, the scholarship, or I don't know what to call it, but I would say the Finland fiasco, because it is a whole matrix of stories and everyone giving their own side. I saw you the other day also giving your input about it. First of all, there are people who don't really understand what is happening. What is happening in Uasin Gishu County?
Okay, this issue to do with Finland. Let me say it, the program is very good. As we all know, the people of Uasin Gishu, and not even Uasin Gishu, the whole country, we have problems of unemployment. There are so many unemployed youths. And you know, it's very sad when you finish school and you're at home, your parents are expecting you, at least after paying your maybe high school or college fee, they also expect you to be independent. Now, the previous regime thought it wise to come up with this program so that they can send our students or our youths who are at home to go to Finland to further their studies at the same time to get employed. The program started well, and initially, let me just put it this way, I don't want to defend anyone. This program was not a scholarship. As per what I was in that ad hoc committee as a member, and during our investigations, we had the petitioners, they came, they said what they know. We also called the executive and the people involved, they told us what they know. Then our work was just to differentiate the truth and the lies that are there. Number one, it was a very good program for the people, especially the people of Uasin Gishu. The challenge came in here. This program was not a scholarship. And I think the county government of Uasin Gishu never shouted it well, or they never said it well, so that the parents can capture it, and everybody within the county of Uasin Gishu to understand that this is not a scholarship. We are not sponsoring students to go to Finland. And I think, let me just use this media house to also let you know that the county needs to shout about whatever they are doing, so that people cannot bring politics in it, so that people can understand what is this that is happening. Now, this program, as I said earlier, it is not scholarship. Parents were supposed to pay to the county. Now, the county was supposed to pay school fees to universities in Finland, because I understand there was MOU between several universities in Finland. Now, when it comes down now to whatever is happening within our county here, this program was run as something totally different from the county, because the people who are running it, some of them were employees of the county, some of them were not. They went ahead, they opened an account, which was not a county account. This was just a trustee account. So, you know, if legislations and policies are not there, definitely it will be abused in one way or the other. So at this point, we have students in Finland. I hope they will not be sent back home. And I hope they will not be kicked out of their hostels. I hope the people who are running this program should do their part and make sure these students are in school, these students are leaving their hostels. Because I think last week we received some calls, the assembly received some calls from students there saying that probably by Monday today, by yesterday, they were going to be kicked out of their hostel if money was not going to be paid. It's so sad. Maybe if parents pay their money and students are going to be kicked out of the hostel and to be kicked out of school, and to make it even worse, probably, if they are going to be deported, it's going to be very painful. Number one, to the parent, because the parent hoped that this kid has gone to Finland, the future is bright. Number two, there's something called psychological torture. It doesn't matter how strong you are. If you are deported from any country,
It feels bad.
I don't know how you're going to pick it. It's very painful. Not even you, the person who has been deported, even the relatives, your siblings, friends, it's going to be very painful. So I hope nobody will be sent back home. And I also hope no one will be kicked out of their hostel. Let's wish everything goes on well.
And how much are we talking about here? How much was the whole thing? And how much has been lost? You are in
what I can say is currently the students who are here, from the report that we had, over 200 students are still at home, but they paid. I think on Friday I had around 48 of them got visas to go to. The students were paying around 1.4, 1.5, 1.2, 1.4 million. So if you're talking about 200 students times 1.2 million,
we're talking about almost 300 million.
Yes, roughly, when the DCI and EACC will do the investigation, we will know how much was lost. Yes, if there is any money that was lost in that program, we will know. Because as Assembly, we didn't want to talk about it in terms of figures, because we don't have forensic audit on this account. We are still waiting from the executive, because one of the recommendations is we wanted a forensic audit on this said account. Yes, that was run by staff of the county. And the other thing, this program, we should have legislation and policies governing this program, so that, you know, we are all Kenyans. And sometimes you're given a position of responsibility and you don't execute it well. Now, someone else will be given and he will do it very well. But all of us, ni watu tofauti. in kimaisha. So there are people who have good intention, and some, they don't have good intention. When you see a lot of money, first thing that comes in your mind is, how am I going to benefit from it, even if the money is not yours? So we were saying, the county should, even if we are going to have people to run the program, the county should appoint somebody who is permanent and pensionable, so that even if we change governments today, this guy will still be there because he's a permanent staff. But when you are giving people who are on contract basis, then we are risking. One regime goes, it will go with all the people who are on contract. For example, like CEC or CEO. These are just people who are appointed politically. If this regime goes home, they will all go with the governor. Yes, but they will all depend with the masses of the people. If the people are going to re-elect the governor, then chances are the governor, even the governor might not even retain some of them, you know. Now that we were proposing that we need to have somebody who is permanent and pensionable and program, because this program is not Kebenei's program. This is not, let's say the governor now is His Excellency Jonathan Chelelimbi. This is not Chelelim's program. It is the program of the people of Uasin Gishu. Because, as we all know constitutionally, governor goes for 2 terms. And we hope governor will go for 2 terms. So we also want him, when he goes home in 2032, the program will still be there, being run by the people within the county who are staff of the county. Yes.
Okay, and Mwesh, now talking about, in fact, the issue of making sure there is continuity of programs, especially flagship programs of a governor that came in early. Closely to that, when the executive came in, I think almost in every county, we saw a lot of audits that later we were never told how many people were audited, how many ghost workers did we get and all that. Did you ever come across the report, and how much do you know about it?
To be very honest, I'm also in finance committee, finance and budget. To date, we haven't received it. Yes, in each and every ward across the county. So far, from our preliminary investigation, all the projects that were started by the previous regime, probably still ongoing. When you look at the budget, money was allocated for these projects. So there's no project that is that was left out by the new regime. So we just wish, and we have been having meetings with the executive. And we usually tell them, the county is not, we are just custodian of the leadership now. So if there's any project that is still ongoing, let us finish those projects so that we can start new projects. Because these projects are not individual projects. These are projects for the people of Uasin Gishu County.
Show coming live from Dawi Africa Photography. Today we have Honorable Moses Kebenei. He is the MCA for Simat Kapseret ward, just giving us some of the touchy issues that we've encountered as a people within the short time they've been in power. Of course, almost 6, I think probably we are headed to the 7th month since they were elected, and I believe squarely working, then it should be 6 months, because of course the first month was most part of it was excitement and part of it orientation, but then now 6 months down the line, what has been done? And Mhesh, the issue of Finland was to sort out unemployment.
Yes.
And you are a leader at a time where unemployment is one of the biggest menace that we are facing currently. We saw a program that you were part of it. I saw you had a game yesterday in your own ward called the Governor's Cup. Of course, do you feel, first of all, that this is one of those projects that can solve unemployment in Kenya today?
Let me just first congratulate the governor for that wise idea and thoughts, and the executive for bringing up this tournament. Number two, the biggest problem we have as a county also is not only for youth being employed. That is one of the problems. Number two, this country, there are so many challenges, and the people affected are mostly the youths. When you look at the number of people graduating every year, the number is not matching with the openings that are there. Now, when the governor proposed that, because it came, before the tournament started, there's a proposal that came to the assembly for assembly to factor in some money in the supplementary budget for this tournament to start. And it was a very good idea from the governor, because volleyball is one of the easiest way of our youths being employed. And most of professional players playing volleyball in this country, they come from our region, the North Rift region, Uasin, Gishu, this stretch of North Rift. Yesterday, the tournament was in Kapseret. It started on Saturday, and it ended yesterday. That was, it's a ward. It starts from the ward level.
Maybe take us through how the program goes. How does it start, and will we even reach to the peak of it?
Okay, what usually happens, we have 30 wards. Each ward has to have a team. Now, for us to get that team within the ward, there are so many teams. We assume, like in Kapseret, we had around 15. Simat Kapseret, we had around 15 teams for men and around 7 for women. Now, we have to break it down until we have a team from the ward level. Now, the winners from the ward level does not qualify direct as the winners to the county, the ward winners to the county level. When we, like yesterday, because each and every team had a coach. So yesterday we told all the coaches from Simat Kapseret that we need to have one team. We need to have one team because there's a team that has a player who is very good. Unfortunately, the team lost. So we are trying to bring players from different teams to form one team from Simat Kapseret for men and one team from Simat Kapseret for women that can go to the county level. And as we all know, Simat Kapseret is the home of volleyballers, especially the region that the location, Simat won for both men and women. And all these schools that are winning national volleyball for high school, for example, they have like 75% of students
coming from
they
Simat.
come from Simat area. Yes. So definitely, I'm telling my fellow MCAs, it's just a formality. It is just a formality. We know where the cup is going.
So you're actually warning them that this is about to go down.
It is just a formality. We are just playing. But initially, the trophy should just, even the finals, but I hope the finals will be played at sports club because it's closer home. So that we can just walk home with the trophy.
And we're coming there. Why do you think there are more valuable players within that region? Because also there's something I noted, because at one point I happened to have stayed around the whole region, starting from Simat all the way to this Nandi. Yes. Talk about bigger part of Mosop sub-county in Nandi. Yes, you'd find that volleyball is a very huge game around there. When you were in primary, in fact, I remember, I think we went up to nationals. It was a big thing. Do you think it is a culture, or is it something in the bloodstream? What exactly is it?
I think when you go that area, you'll see the sporting activity is valuable. So when kids are growing up, that is something they know, especially running, and that is what they can see when they are. And, at the age of 5, 6, that is where valuable. So that is something that is in them. That is what they love. And it is moving from one generation to the other because the kids grow up knowing, even me tomorrow, I want to play volleyball. At the age of 10, they will start there, when the seniors are not around, they will start trying to play volleyball. By the time they are in let's say class 8, class 7 there, they are already in the school system. In high school, they go and they play volleyball direct. Look at it this way. The people who are playing now, those guys in high school, they'll, when the surrounding will dictate how your future will be. So they'll say, okay, even me, I want to put more effort so that tomorrow I clear from 4. Instead of staying at home, I'm taken by a club. And,
yes.
And they have been paid good money. Yeah. When you look at these players playing for this professionals, yeah, you can. The East Europe, and he was being paid a lot of money. At the moment, this guy has really invested that motivates our youth, especially within Simat area. So if this guy is driving a good car, he has really invested in real estate, he's getting rental income every month. Now, someone will say, even me, I just want to be like this guy so that I don't get employed, but I'll be getting money. I play volleyball, volleyball at the age of 40, 35, 40, you are done. So you have to make sure you capitalize the few years that you are playing. And that is the main reason why. And the Mosop area, these are boundary constituencies. Kapseret, sub-county, then on the other side is Mosop. So the kids who are playing on this side will admire also, the other side will admire on this other side. And most of the time they have their friendlies. The tournament. They usually have their friendly tournaments, which there's no any money. Let me tell you one funny thing. Yesterday, when I was watching volleyball, it was played the finals. It was being played at Lemok. You could hear people outside there, the fans now saying, "We are not even after money. Tunataka mchunge jina. Sisi tunachunga jina. Musituaibishe chunga mambo ya pesa musiangalie. Tunachunga jina." Now you could see that is a passion that is coming from the fans themselves. Yeah, the fans. You can see that they want their name to still remain up high. Yes.
Okay, and of course these guys both of them, both Kapseret and Mosopo, walinifunza some song inaimba. So if it were Kapseret playing against Simat, yes, then they would say kushindwa na Kapseret ni tabia mbaya. And they were like, woi ni tabia.
And one funny thing, yesterday, the final was just between the two. It was between Simat location and Kapseret location.
Kapseret location.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah, Simat was in the final. Then a team from Newlands. Newlands is borderlands. When after airport too. And you could see now Simat is from the far end of the ward. Borderlands on the other far end.
Now wamekutana katikati.
Wakakutania. The game was being played at Lemok at the central area. Now these two teams from the far end, they met at the final. Yes.
Okay, that is quite awesome. And of course, another thing we'll talk about is the sporting facilities in Uasin Gishu. We've talked about being part of the finance committee. Let's talk about 64 Stadium, because I may not want to talk about Kipchoge no more, because yes, I've mentioned it quite severally on this particular show. Yes. Let's talk about sporting activities in the next 5 years. Of course, volleyball may not need much of a big field, but then we've been in a county and in a regime whereby we found ourselves at a place where we don't have sporting activities completely. We've seen projects start and stall. What is your expectation in the next 5 years? You're now part of this.
Let's talk about the 64 Stadium. 64 Stadium is capital intense project. I think the budget was around 1.2 billion of that project. And when I look at the project as we talk now, it's somewhere around 50 to around 60% done. As I said earlier, the projects that are there, especially these projects are not for us as MCAs. This is the project for the people of Uasin Gishu. Currently, we don't really have a stadium. Yes. Kipchoge Stadium is under national, is under the Ministry of Sports. Ours is 64 stadium. Probably, if everything goes as planned, in the next 3 years, the stadium will be up. Before the end of these 5 years, we'll be using that stadium. And I'm also, sometimes us leaders are also politicians. Let us not politicize 64 stadium. The funds that were allocated for that project, let us use it. We finish that project, and let the people of Uasin Gishu County start using that stadium. Look at it this way. We are having valuable Governors' Cup. Where are we going to play the finals? Probably in a private facility. We are a county. We need to have our own facility. If we had 64 stadium, we could have played valuable there. Not necessarily.
And of course, there is a culture. In fact, I grew up around 64 Stadium.
Yes.
And there was a very huge tournament. I don't know who are the organizers.
Yes.
And actually, nowadays, you'd find it going to parts of maybe some private facilities. At times, you'd see it at sports club or somewhere else. And it used to be a real income earner for... At that time, it was the municipal and even the traders around would really benefit from it. I think because somehow these people would have to really stay around town and access both Kipchoge and 64 Stadium. And so looking at it in terms of Kipchoge, okay, you've said 3 years. Of course, when it started, you had been told probably by 2022. Then there was somebody else who said, okay, probably 2024. Then when you say 3 years now, you're talking about 2026. Okay, why is it that we actually don't have a definite time yet? We had budgets for it. We have custodians of the project. We have an executive. We have a county assembly. How come we cannot get a definite time, and also we cannot get a good report on progress? Because the reason why I'm asking you about this is for a long time, I think for the last 4 months, I saw it was stalling. Then the other day, we saw a few activities here and there. Then again, we are not seeing them anymore. How come we don't have consistency with the project?
This is my thinking of how things are working. We as a county, we should come up with legislations that the executive should be doing a project into completion. Look at it this way. We have huge capital-intense projects that were started the last 5 years. When you look at the budget, and especially the new regime, when a new regime comes in place, usually it comes with its own agendas and what they think they need to do. In one way or the other, it will affect the budget. Now, the allocation that we receive from control of budgets cannot be, there's a certain percent that can be factored in supplementary. You cannot exceed 10%. So some of these projects will have to stall, not to stall, to go slow, because we have a lot of things to do. And especially the new government that comes in place with their own things, the way they think things should be done, it needs money. Now, this 64 Stadium, the reason why I'm saying it will take almost 3, sometimes, let us not give false timelines. In 3 years' time, this stadium needs to be up and running. If we say in 1 year's time or 2 years' time, there's another factor of contractors. I don't know. Some of these contractors are going there and probably they don't have the capacity to do it. So they have to go borrow for money, then they come here. The way I was thinking, a contractor should be given a project and paid after the project, not in phases. Now, this issue of us going to phases is whereby a contractor will look, a project is 1.2 billion. If you don't have 1.2 billion in your account, you have no business to apply for that contract. You have 300 million and you're taking a contract of 1.2. How are you going to finish that project? It means you look for money from the bank. What are the interest rates? Can you sustain with the margin that you're going to get out of it? Now, that is where the problem is. Probably the national government or the legislature and the Senate and the National Assembly will come up with laws, especially the Senate, that before you are given a capital intense project, you should have the same amount of money in your account.
Of course, you'd even wonder, because at the same time, our students are being asked by other countries, you need to show course, have a guarantor, have a bank statement to prove that actually you can sustain yourself in this country. But then for us, I think maybe it's something that we need to look at in the future. Somebody here called... Okay, Mildred Sum says good morning. We have Ambassador Alfred Sargent says say jambo to mheshimiwa following from Itigo Brisbane. Actually, I'm told there is a new Itigo in Australia.
Oh. And then say hi to Sargent. I know.
Okay, then there is somebody called Diloco says ask him to address the some first choice shenanigans. Is there light for the victims? Of course, that's something that we'd want to mention at some point. Then there is of course, that is an issue to do with employment still. I've mentioned something about the stadiums, and clearly you can look at a problem. Maybe there's need for more legislations. We'd still call you from time to time, because you realize that actually somehow we are in a quagmire that may take some time before we pull ourselves out of it. But then moving on now to other issues, including people now traveling abroad and people leaving the country. Then two, there is also the issue of agencies coming up in town. There was the issue of first choice. I think it is a matter of public interest now, but then even beyond regulate to regulate the so-called agencies coming up.
Let me first. You've said there's, I don't know, Victor from Lemok, who was talking about employment in the county. It's good we put things straight. Things we cannot just rush in and try to, there's a ceiling of people being employed, and as we speak now, the governor is really trying to find openings for people to be employed within the county. But let's be patient. Let's give him time. Sometimes it's not good when your brother is being sacked for you to be employed. There's nothing for those. There's a lot of the county. We need to be employed in the county, but the openings are still not yet there. Let's be patient. Number two, the issues to do with legislation governing recruitment agencies.
And maybe before you come there, what's your attitude about people leaving the country? Of course, we've seen mass, I don't know how to call it, I don't know, I would say mass immigration or something like that. So many people from this region now country. Alfred Sargent here, Australia. What do you think about that?
Let me tell you, even me, I was. If you remember history very well, We used to have people like Vasco da Gama. We used to have Scramble for Africa. At that time, the people who were scrambling for Africa, they were looking for opportunities, at least to expand their territories, and also factor of production. They were looking for things to improve, for example, the cotton farmers. Outside Europe, they were coming for scrambling for Africa. That means, on the other side, they had no space. So they had to come for Africa because Africa was like a virgin land. It was not overutilized. It was just a land that nobody had explored. So they came here and they started their own families here. They grew, even dairy farming, they started all those things here. Now, I think now it's time for Africa to scramble for the world. Because somehow things are not rosy. I think, for me, I have no issues with people going outside the country, as long as they are going to do the right thing. They are going to study, look for employment, and also, I can tell them, if start your own family there, buy your property there, just be coming home for holiday. Come see your relatives, come see your parents. 1 month, probably for me, I think is enough. And go back. Let's cannot live in another country. For names, some in Kapseret in New, I think everybody going is New Zealand. I've heard people talking that New Zealand, there's so many opportunities. So after Australia, I think people will be going to New Zealand. I remember in the early especially from Kapseret, and more so the Kosirai area. Early 2000, most people, between 1999 and 2005.
A lot of people.
The country, and the destination was USA. Now, most people, especially from Kapseret, let me talk about where I come from. Almost every weekend, people are going to Australia. The month of Feb alone, more than 50 students left Kapseret destination to Australia for studies. And probably because I attended almost all the let's say, Thanksgiving for them, and look for money, go there, build yourself, study, and if possible, where you are going. So that some of us will go there and will be feeling our young men, even those at home that work well, study hard and smart, then if things are not working here in Kenya, you still have an opportunity to go to another country and life will be positive. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Now let's go to the legislation part of it. Now that agencies now exist, almost every do we have any legislation? And if we don't have one, then do you see any need to have it? And what do you think about it?
Let me be very open with you. At the moment, we don't have any legislation governing recruitment agencies for oversee study and work for our people within the county boundaries of Uasin Gishu County. But as we speak now, because there is this issue of, I think everybody is talking about the first choice. Now, this was also an eye-opener for us. Very soon, we are going to have legislation because we also need to do oversight. Our work is to do oversight within the county to make sure that anybody who pays his or her hard-earned money does not taken advantage of. So legislations will be out very soon. It will come to the assembly and we'll debate it. Try to sharpen wherever, try to improve where we think is not right. I can just tell people who was in Gishu, let's be patient a bit, because even Rome was not built in a day. The issues which were there,
live, we shall be able to have you on board. Monday we usually have politics, law and governance, of course, state of the nation, and today we throw our focus on Uasin Gishu County. Muhesha, moving on. Now let's move, because I would say that maybe time is when we talk about the issue of LGBTQ, of course, I would just want to, first of all, then the other day, the courts had a ruling about the freedom of association for the alphabet community. First of all, what is your attitude towards the whole thing? Is it a societal problem? Is it what is it?
Oh, okay. Let me say this way first. For me, I'm a Christian. I grew up in a Christian family. I went to Sunday school. Then I graduated. You know, in our church, my local church is there. I see Mosombor, Kapseret Center. So the way there are steps for you to.
You start from Sunday school.
Yeah, I started from Sunday school. I'm almost there. So, even in the Bible says, we leave his father's house and be one, and become one. In our African traditional culture, so let me say it in the Nandi community. There's no you said alphabetical, or you said
okay.
Alphabet community. There's no word in because anything that has a word means it was there previously. So for the alphabet community, we don't have it in our culture. Number two, not allowed in our Bible. The Bible says a man and a woman will leave his father's house and become one. It is not. Come from families. The biggest problem, or where this thing has started, it has to start from family. Probably the parents are not having a discussion with the kids when they're growing up. There are things, before they come out, it needs to start from home. You have been told this is how life is, this is how our culture is, those are some of the things. Now, when you don't tell your kids these things, they will come out and they will find people who are already in whatever, doing their own things, and they will corrupt their mind. The take about the alphabet community Yes, as much as Supreme Court said that they're allowed to be recognized. That is, I do respect judiciary, whatever they say, but me as a person, I'm totally against that. Yes. If we go that direction, we are going. We very soon will not have families. We will not have families, and I saw somewhere Museveni, the president of Uganda, and I totally support him. For these people to prove that they need to be recognized, let us isolate them and put them somewhere until they will produce a kid. Then we will accept them. Yes.
Okay, somebody argues that this is an issue that came with the West. The same person argued that the Bible, first of all, I don't know what that means to you. But then also, before we go far, another person also argued, say that we have bigger issues to talk about. The region we come from still records high number of cases of rape. We still have a lot of defilements within this region. What do you think about that attitude? Do you think it's time we talk about LGBTQ or?
Okay. As you said, the Bible came with the West. But also, we also have a culture. We come from, let us not lie to each other. We come from a certain home. And that home came from a certain area. And that area had, there's a culture that, especially the traditional culture, that governs certain things on how things are supposed to be done. And you know, our old men, some of these things you're talking about, rape and all those things, they were unheard of. They were unheard of. We are being corrupted by, let's say, the Western culture. That is why you find, you know, rape was unheard of. When you try to look at, you try to read history, our grandfathers, those things were never there. They were never, and if it happened, there was, it used to be called instant justice. In the next few years, what are we going to have in this country? Yes, rape is there, the defilements are there, but this is a discussion we can start from home. Each and every family should at least start from somewhere for us to go back to our culture and make sure things are happening. We don't imitate other people's culture. Why are we imitating, or why are we copying theirs? They should also copy ours. Yes. So I totally, I totally respect judiciary, but I am of the opinion this is very wrong. Yes, very wrong.
And Mwesh, where do you see, of course, time is a limiting factor here. Maybe we still need some time to talk about the whole thing, but let's talk about the issue of legislation, because it's now starting to affect our law, definitely to affect our way of living. Do you feel it's time, we did a survey, we did research and found out why are we having people like this, rather than just maybe denying and saying that maybe it doesn't exist?
There's no need of doing research. These things all over. You know,
I think their motivation is money.
You know, they're trying to entice our youths. And the youths, when they look at money, everything is about money, which is the reality. You know, life is all about God, it's all about academics, and about money. So you've gone to school, now you're looking for money, and there's someone offering you money. People will go there. Okay. Look at this way. Why is it so hard for us to fight corruption in this country? It is because of money. There's a lot of money in corruption deals. That's why it's become people use money to try to find justice or to cover up whatever they've done. Yes. Okay.
Somebody called Tanui, I think Victor. I read this, says Mheshimiwa is a good leader in our ward. Endelea na hiyo spirit Mwesh. Thank you so much for that. He says it's Victor from Lemok. There is a Chepkwony Kirwa. Cosmas is getting you live. Bondeni Kapseret grounds. Hongera kiongozi Kebenei for the message of goodwill to many Kenyans. Simat Kapseret, we are proud of you. Stories of men or the other way is against our culture. Sharon Cheruta says, Honorable Kebenei, do we really have to blame vices on the Western influence? It is becoming an escape route for all the conversations that we might not be ready to have, like rape and defilement and issues that are creeping in our society. Is it actually a Western problem?
Okay. As I said earlier, this issue of whatever we are doing currently, it starts from the family. Go back to our culture and try to tell, especially the young kids who are growing up, that these are the things we are supposed to do. You know, the problem now, parents even don't, most of the parents, especially of my generation, they are not even at home. People are just there. And for me, as much as people want to go out there and kupiga sherehe, you should also know that you have a responsibility at home to make sure your kid, or you see your kid before they sleep, and even have a word with them. Because at an early age, we leave our kids. It will come a time we will never be in control of them. Most of the time, let me take you back to what I saw in Uganda sometimes back. When you go to Uganda, and I'm using Uganda as an example because Uganda is doing it better than us. When you go to clubs in Uganda, between 6 p.m., you'll just find a handful of people. But when it reaches midnight, now the clubs are full. So I was asking one of my friends from Uganda, why is it that almost all clubs midnight is full, but when you go to around 8, 9, home first, eat dinner with your kids. When they sleep, now you can go out and start partying. But in Kenya, it's the other way around. You leave town, your office, you go direct to a club to start partying, which is very wrong. You don't have time for your kid. Then tomorrow morning, you are supposed to be at work by 7 or 7:30. You leave home very early. By 6:30, you're already out of home. Your kids are still sleeping. You came probably 2 a.m. So there's no time for you and your kids. But I think we should also adopt a culture whereby we go home, talk with, know where the problem is. We as a society now will come up and will mold people who will be very helpful in our society.
So anyway, as we end this particular whatever, of course it is, basing on the comments, you realize that this is a touchy topic. It is something that now people are starting to agitate and talk about it. Somebody asking, so Moesh, you can confirm that LGBTQ is a, let me just get it straight from how they've written it. You can confirm that LGBTQ is an issue of raising up and not an issue of science or how people are created.
I totally believe it's an issue of, it's a family issue. It's nothing to do with science. It is how people, you know, I heard somewhere that there's a recruitment that has been done for people to join the alphabet community, and for you to enroll, you are supposed to, you are paid. If you join, you are paid something like 100,000 or something so. But if you bring in a member, you're paid like 300,000. No, you see, it's the power of money that is confusing people here. If you join, you're given 100,000. If I bring, see, within a very short time, I can confuse my friends and I make money. I join, I'm given 100. I confuse someone, I confuse you, I'm given 300. I bring another guy, I get another 300. So you can see it's something like people have been, you're being confused with money. Yeah. So it is, what I can say, it is purely issues of us trying to embrace a culture that is not ours.
Okay, thank you so much. Of course, as I said, most of these conversations we've had today are conversations that will still come up in the future, and we'll get a chance to discuss it and talk about it. Now, as we continue to do this, of course, we are coming to the tail part of this particular interview. Muhesha, the Women's International Day is coming up in the next 2 days. What do you have for women as a leader and as a Kapseret, Simat Kapseret?
Number one, the Constitution of Kenya is talking about two-third gender rule. For me, I'm an advocate of that to be implemented. Let us recognize our women to be in leadership. Number three, we as a community, you know, women, let's just put it this way, women are, let me say it, women are God sent to us. We as men, we have a problem. You cannot, you know, men, you cannot multi. And there are things they usually do that we cannot do. Especially, let me tell you this way. You know, women they were created in a way that they multiply everything. If you are given 100 shillings now, there's high chance that 100 shillings will not reach home in the evening. But if you give a woman 100 shillings now, that money might not reach home as 100 shillings, but it will reach home as maybe 150 or into a saving. It has gone to a saving account that they will get something. For me, I totally support women, and I'm asking the government, especially the national government, let's support women in each and everything they do. It doesn't matter. I was telling my colleagues some few months ago that I'm looking for the day that men will be nominated to balance the assembly. Not always we nominate women for gender top-up. I'm looking for a day that we will balance, especially the county assembly of Uasin Gishu, with gender top-up for men, whereby elected women are 20 out of 30. Then the 10 men who are elected, now we have to top up the nomination for gender top-up with men, not women. Then at that point, we will have gone into, we will be a role model to so many, not even of Gishu County, so many people in the world. Yes. Of course, I don't know, because at that time also we will be trying to do the boys' side. And of course, not to talk about this during the International Women's Day. Yes. For that, but then also you realize that maybe in the future still call your what conversation about the poll child, because there is an argument that actually one side is losing out. Anyway, I'll have to go to Muhesha for his partnership, because we realize that the time is already given as it's back. So Muhesha, maybe give us your partnership. Let me take this opportunity also to thank the people of Simat Kapseret for the opportunity they gave me to represent them. I just also want to thank God for each and everything. And lastly, let me take this opportunity also to thank you for this opportunity you have given me here, at least to discuss issues, the state of the nation, and today focusing on Uasin Gishu. Lastly, I'm asking each and everyone, let's pray for our country. We know there are so many challenges now in our country, and also let's pray to have a culture that is accepted across our African setup. Thank you so much.
Okay, of course, interesting questions coming in there, but then we shall be able to sample them later. Of course, I'll direct Muhesh also to the comment section because I can see somebody asking, what are you doing in your capacity to achieve such representation in the future? But then, of course, as I say, the time is also here. Coming live from Dawi Africa, my name is MC Kalia, and this has been the Morning Glory Show.